Okay, let's get started. Welcome to day 14. I mean, I skipped a lot of days not doing this, but this is the 14th day casting the drawing channel for me. And we just covered the 1 point perspective. And today we are going to finish up with the 1 point perspective along with adding the 2 point perspective. Let's see here. Let's see what I got there. 1 point perspective. I don't think this. Okay, it might have been gone from this category. In any case, let's just start. So we already covered from the bottom side of the horizon line. So today we are going to be discussing in between and also 2 point perspective. So same thing again, we'll try the horizon line in the middle. The point being is we're gonna do a shape in between and a shape on top. It should be same thing as the bottom. So again, the shapes we are dealing with are square, triangle, sphere, circle, sphere, cylinder is the other one. Sorry, my throat's a little under the I've also been sick, so didn't help. Start a new layer. This is the horizon line, so we'll leave it as is. We'll just call it H. Lock it. So again, we'll take the middle point. For the sake of differentiating the pencils, maybe use a different color. Let's just use red. So this is the vanishing point. So again, we are doing a square. So easily to do that is just hold on to shift, and then you can go left or right. And then you can also make it like hold on shift and then up or down. It'll make a vertical line. Oh, that's the other technique, which you hold on shift on 2 points to connect the dots. Now, I did mention an exercise where you can do this and just coordinate with your, just have practice with your eyes and hand. After a while, you will get good at it. Like that one was a good hit. Then make it challenging for yourself. So there's that. So keep at it. I think if you practice every day for a month, you'll get really good at it. I haven't been practicing. I've been actually just painting away at something I want to do to put up on social media. I should definitely practice it more too. Vanishing points. So we already covered this point. I'm just gonna finish it up. That's your cube, right? Now, we'll actually take the same cube and we'll apply it to the center point instead. Shoot, whatever. I'll just do it by hand again. Oh, I cheated. Okay, let's say we put it on the center. That looks like the same length. So we'll point and then hold shift and then point down. We'll connect. All right, so that's how it should look when you intersect with the horizontal line. Things on this edge will turn downwards and this will go upwards to the vanishing point. That's the perspective. And then if you were to reverse that and go on the upper hand, of course, then it'll look the exact opposite from the bottom one. Ooh, something happening there. Oops, I'm totally off. Let's make that more prominent. All right, so that's what it looks like when it's pretty much the opposite. So everything's going downwards. So I'll leave it to you guys to do the rest of the shapes. The square one is quite easy when it comes to lining the dots. The more difficult one would probably be the cylinder. And the sphere is gonna be, I would say, skip the cylinder is nothing. Not the cylinder, the sphere is nothing. I don't, because it's circle no matter what, so it doesn't matter where it goes. It's sphere. It's good all around. So I would say the pyramid and the cylinder could be the difficult one, just because of the circle and the because of its angle. It could be difficult, especially making the circle. If you're making the cylinder, let's dump that. If you're making the cylinder, let's say the cylinder goes like something like that. Now you can start with the square to use it as a guide for the cylinder. And let's say the cylinder ends here. That's horrible here. So it doesn't get confused. The lines there. Yeah, so the cylinder, it's actually not a perfect square. Okay, let's do that again. For a perfect square, you just use this. Hold on shift to make a square. And then do a stroke. So right click, do a stroke. Let's say it's about, that's quite thick. 10%. Oh, that's thin. Stroke, I guess 25 would have been good, depending on your canvas size. Mine's an 8 by 10 inch. 8 by 12 inch. Okay, that's the perfect square. Jeez, what happened to the color? Color picker, you can use Alt to get that. Let's say the dot is here. Connect it. Remember, hold on Shift for the two dots. Too thin. Let's say the cylinder is that long. This seems problematic here. All right, so that circle we're talking about. Now, because it's a one-point perspective, you can probably what is it? Find the center line. So what you can do is that X thing. So this is the center point. All right. So you grab that. Why is this important? It's because, let's make it another layer. It's because you want the touching edge of a circle here and here and all 4 points here, not on the edge, right? So these are the guidelines to help you do that. So if you take your time, you'll probably get it. You can do increments of the quarter. So now I can delete it, no problem, just because it's on a separate layer. Ooh, that's horrible. You can even start like only increments of the pizza pie. And then you can adjust. All right. Now, if you can't get the hang of it, let's do another one, another layer. We'll do a separate color. So this is just to guide you. You can trace it. Actually, let's do a separate color so it can highlight. Blue or purple. So you can practice that until you get it. It's one of those skills you're gonna have to keep practicing. But for the sake of the video, I have to move on. So what you can do is you can use the circle. If you're on timeline too, you can probably just use this. So back in the day when we were doing these live, most of the time we use a stencil to make the perfect circle. So there's no shame in using the tools that's available for you. So that controls that. So I want to duplicate it. Reason being because we have two ends of the cylinder. So pick the picker tool. All right. So you got the two circles. Hit Control T. You can transform that to fit in within the square. So missing a bit. There you go. All right. So what you want to do is here is capture the points that you will see, and sometimes it's actually not here, right? It'll be right around, it's a little beyond the, you see how if you go to center, it'll overlap there. So I did that on purpose to show you guys. Because it's a cylinder, it's quite different. Because you can see that line going through, then it's incorrect. So it's right around here where you want to plop that line, and you want to do it right there. So it's kind of off the center. Good rule of thumb is you shouldn't be able to see an overlay of the line. Oh my god, the line is too thick. Smaller brush, somewhere around here, and then this might be in the center just because it's on the distance. Did I point it here? Right, so same thing with this. It's not going to be exactly on the center. It'll be right around here, and you want to connect it over here. So that will be the connecting point of the cylinders. Let's group the all together. Merge, Control E. Oops, that is not a part of the layer. Control E with these two layers. So there you go, the cylinder that's intersecting the horizontal line. And so that's what you want. So you can definitely experiment with that using, so to get familiar, and then go on top of the horizontal line and below. Okay, so let's move on to the 2-point perspective, and that's what's, just want to cover that. Actually, at the end of the this episode, what you can do is some homework, which homework is gonna be is like gonna help you jump forward to understand the 1-point perspective and 2-point perspective. Any case, so we started a new layer. This is just for me. So we can, if you need to go back, we can go back. So 2-point perspective, that means there's 2 vanishing points. All right. We'll say one's here and one's here. Now, the closer you have it together, the more kind of warped the shape is. I'll show you in that regards. So let's start with the basic shape with the square. So oftentimes you'll see it'll be off the center. So you don't want to, you can do it center and center. It's less interesting. But you want it 2/3 of one way. So we'll do it here. And then, so this point, connect to this point. So he'll, again, with the shift button, the 2 points, point here, and hold on shift and point. If it's not too thin, you can redo that line. You can start here, here. Then we're going to do the same thing with this point. Now we're going to estimate what the square is, because this is an angle. Oops. You can do that. We'll say it's here. So hold on shift to make this a perfect straight line. Same thing here. I say that's about a good square. So what we can do is use this point here to connect it to this vanishing point, and then same thing with this point to this point. And then every corner will want to do that to connect to a vanishing point. So this corner, didn't do it. Well, there you go. That is the square. Now we're going to connect, because it's kind of skewed here. We'll hold on shift. Because it's kind of off center, what it is the point was kind of wrong. So it's very crucial when you do perspective. Sometimes it can be off and then people will know, especially the pros. So you have to be careful when you point, do it exactly. And that point is kind of big over here, so it's kind of like it could be off too. So this is somewhat off. Won't take care too much. Let's see if I can correct this. It'll just be thicker. So you see the Xmart is kind of like more accurate because you're off just like a hair, and it can tell, like, you know. Okay, so that is the square for 2-point perspective. You see how it's somewhat warped. So now if you put the points even closer together, the vanishing points, you'll see it's more skewed. We'll start a new layer. Actually, we'll do a different red. So we can compare the difference. So we're gonna have, let's say we have this point here, and then this point is right here, is to be really ridiculous. And then we'll plop it here. Sure, I skipped a step, but you can point here and then hold on shift, point that. And then that. You're gonna have to estimate where. Go up, hold shift, and then point down and shift. Make sure it's accurate on that point. It's quite faint. Do it again. So we'll try to find the square for this side. Hold on shift, and then same thing, point there, hold shift, and then point down. There. Now you see the two squares, and put it side by side. One is like a fisheye kind of thing, which is the vantage point becomes too tight and the visual becomes kind of bent a little bit. So when you want to do everything accurate without causing kind of a fisheye look or a warped look, is to have the vanishing points further apart. The further apart they are, the less bent they feel like. It feels more accurate. Now, when you do that without any you don't want any warping to happen. Most oftentimes, the actually vanishing point is outside the frame, and one way to combat this is you can do that because we're beginners, right? Or I'm not too much of a beginner, but when you guys start out, what you can do is have the two lines plopped. Yes. Well, I have a big canvas size, but once you kind of get the foundation going, like you have everything going, like you plopped everything. What you want to do is cut the canvas size and just like zoom in to the parts that you want, because you needed the vanishing line to happen. And so you can just zoom in and crop out the vanishing line that you don't want in there. You just want a tighter screenshot. So you can do that and then just cater to that, and it'll look less warp. As opposed to like this, if you put, like I said, put the vanishing points too close, it can warp the image itself when it comes to perspective. So there's that, and yeah, just used everything that I have talked about. Forgot to do this point here. There it goes. Yeah, and then just go through the different shape. I will display the different shapes on the 2-point perspective. Let's just start a new one. Again, I'm going to put them further apart, but we're going to do off center. I want it less warp, so max distance, please. So, well, let's do the triangle, and we're going to do an intersection of the horizontal line. So what do we do is, you can always make that box. Sometimes that square is actually crucial when it comes to building anything. Just over a little bit. Because it does help guide you of how to place the object. And the great thing about the cube is you can break it down to guidelines, so you can actually see if the shape is correct or not. So let's say that's the square here. So we are building the pyramid. Point and point down. I want to try to hit this freehand. Let's do a few times. So you can do some ghosting. So ghosting is making your hand go back and forth in motion without dropping the pen until you are confident. It's kind of a weird angle. Normally people will rotate the canvas, but I want to rotate myself to angle this just right. Oh. Must have had 2 points down. That's kind of close. I feel like it's slightly bent. Hold on here. All right, taking too long. There you go. All right, and then we'll calculate where that square is. Just point down, hold shift, point, and connect. It's kind of off. Okay, so we have the square. To do a pyramid, I just want to make it pronounce. we need to get the center on the bottom here. So what we can do is connect the 2 points here on each corner. So that is the center. So you can just draw a dot. You can create a center here. All right, so now you know the center. This is where the point lands. So here you can just go point and connect. And then connect in each corner on top of the point of the center. I know it's getting harder to see. I will go through it with a different marker, with a different color. So there's the pyramid. Let's go through it with a different color so you can actually see the pyramid. Let's get a thinner marker. There we go. It's points. So light. Let's see here. Here we go. Points. All right, that is your pyramid. So if you take that away, that is your pyramid when going over the horizon line as well. Great. That's your 2-point perspective. Now I'll let you go through the cylinder yourself. You should be able to do it with all the knowledge that just got displayed. What's next is, now that we understand how to plot the vanishing line and how to connect them and all that, what the homework is, what you want to do is actually make a room. This is a room project. So with 1-point perspective, I want you guys to do an exercise where you make a room. Let's say it's a square. Sure, that can connect. Ooh, that's bad. What you want is here, points there. Okay, so with this square inside, I want you guys to do a homework that requires you to fill the room. Now, negating the line here. So this wall square represents the back wall, and of course the ceiling, left wall, right wall, floor. So I want you to fill it up with shapes. With the room. So you can keep connecting the dots like we practiced. Probably you should use a different marker to illustrate this. Excuse me. Oops. Yeah, so you want to do something like that, and then you do something crazy like what do you do? If you had like move it over here, stroke it with, I don't know, to a 20 pixel size. Copy paste, and you'll grab it and then shrink. We'll leave it aside first. We'll go back here. Little cheating. I'm cheating everywhere. Try not to cheat too much. It's not gonna help you grow. This is only sake for this video. To go faster. And then you can grab the other layer of that circle to kind of make it so you have to fit it in between the lines. So if you want a smaller distance, then the cylinder has to be bigger, or the circle has to be bigger. There you go, your cylinder on top as the light source. The thing is, when you start constructing this, it'll teach you a lot. And then I also have a homework after this. Once you get this all done, plopped out, a good homework to practice is lighting afterwards to light the sucker. Depending what kind of light source you're having, maybe this cube is lighting bottom up. I was thinking this cylinder is a light and it just radiating light. Maybe only a section of it, right? We'll play around with that. And so that's a good homework to actually practice a lot. Art classes, they do that a lot to help understand the perspective and also make it interesting as well, because the technical stuff is not interesting. It's not a sexy topic, but it is required to understand the shapes. So yeah, plop out all the basic shapes, cylinder, triangle, whatever. If you want to be more advanced, you can absolutely try to do a couch, a coffee table, that kind of stuff. I would suggest do the basic shape first if you're a beginner, and then if you're actually more comfortable, I would suggest exercising more of your, I guess, your skill that you already have, to plop down a couch using the guidelines, something like that. I'm still sketchy still. Yeah, something like that. That's horrible of a sketch because there's so much. There you go. So yeah, this is the room project. Like, I've seen art classes do this a lot and still help starting as a good starting point to make things more interesting. And you're feeling more adventurous, maybe plop down the figure within the atmosphere. Yeah. So that, and then plus the 2-point perspective with the room, what we can do is, I'll just start over. Why erase it? Let's get them out. 2-point perspective, we will do a room with 2-point perspective. I'll do it this way this time. Let's say this room is actually more of a rectangle. Okay, that's good. So once you finish plopping down, actually make a big canvas, and then once you finish plopping down the guidelines, I want you to go in and then crop it and go in tight so you can actually go in detail. And then you can use these guidelines. So cropping is used with this tool, the crop tool. Let's say you want to go in tight and focus on the subject. That's how normally people do it. Now, like I said, the better, less warp it is using vanishing lines further apart, the vanishing points further apart. Let's add a different layer and then use another marker. Let's use red. Okay. Actually, you can, yeah, let's use that. So what you can do is have this wall and then this wall not there. So what I'm saying is over here, connect that, connect this. That's very faint. So the only thing you're not gonna attach is this, this right here, this blue line here. So we will get rid of that. You don't, because you just want to see, you have to lose this wall, not enclose it. You can still keep it. It's just, it might distract from the project because basically we're having two walls open up. So this side here and then this side here, so you can see the room in a 2-point perspective. And then same deal, you're gonna design the room with simple shapes. You can put a square. Let's say the square is right here. So what you're gonna do is try to figure out, this time it's gonna be tricky because you got rid of the line. So just use the blue marker and use it as maybe a 30% opacity. And you're going to try to figure out where the middle is. Something around here. And then you can grab that quick color, go back to 100%. Let's say it's a square here. Let's say the square is actually longer. And oops. So you can use that guideline to actually help with the, ooh, it's landing on that. I don't like that. To illustrate the point, let's make it thinner. Okay, let's use that blue again, opacity 3. Something like that. Looks about right. That looks good. Get that color back, put 100%. And then we're going to try to find a guideline for this. Now, when you get good at this, all you need is some of these guidelines, and you won't need to use a perfect guideline to go through the whole thing. So because it's up here, it attaches right there. And then let's use this as a guideline. Something like that, I think. Yeah. If you're feeling fancy, it's like, oh, let's say this is a locker or something. And then there's pictures. And then say you add in a chair to sit in, a bench. Maybe this is a police locker or something. Make it interesting, have some stories. I think this will be more entertaining than just doing the exercise itself. You can get burnt out if you pressure yourself to do these kind of work and not have fun with it. And so that's important. So let's say the chair has some kind of mount on the corner. Yeah, you can definitely use these lines as indicators. See, once you, I guess, get good and using the, so bad, using the guidelines, you can actually portray something that's pretty good. And then let's say there's a bench here. That seems off. Notice how you can actually tell sometimes now, just because you have guidelines to actually show you where the vanishing point, you can kind of guess. Yeah, it's a pretty fun project if you definitely make it fun in your case scenario. Make up a story in your head. Maybe your main character is in the locker room. Had a long, hard day, that kind of stuff. Then this is the coat rack. So I've seen these kind of projects a lot, and definitely looks really fun to do. I'm definitely going to do some, and then on next episode I'll show you what I got, so at least you know where I'm going with this. So that is the 2-point perspective project and the 1-point perspective homework to do to get even better and better to understand perspective. Now if you practice this a lot, you will get it down, I guarantee. And then for the next episode we're going to cover lighting, and we're not going to go too in depth. I'm just going to arm you with the most basic, and then you'll have to probably do some reading and looking up to understand lighting even further. But what I gonna tell you about it is a good ground starting point where you can probably go further with it, of understanding lighting even more. So I'm just plopping down the outer layer of the wall to make it more realistic that we're looking inside a room. Yeah, this could be interesting. And then the legs. Yeah, it's not matching. All right. So that is the homework that if you go through it a lot, you can probably, your skill will increase a lot with understanding perspective. And after that, you save this file, and then we'll start discussing about lighting the room. And if you did a lot of it like, you had a few of them with just the basic shape, and then you went on to doing an actual room. Now we can do the lighting for both, and yeah, you'll learn way more with that technique. And yeah, so I'll leave you to it. I'm gonna get going and do some, and I'll show you what I have on perhaps the next episode. Probably won't be a day. I probably need like a week to work on it. Yeah, so I'll leave you to it. But I think you should draw every day, and no matter what it is, just to keep your eye-hand coordination alive, and always look at reference to keep up with your knowledge of visual library. So I'll leave you to that, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.